So the other day I was reading a report by the World Economic Forum in which they claim that 92 million jobs will disappear due to advances in AI. And not just at some point in the distant future, no, in the next 5 years. So let's try to figure out what's going on so you can prepare for what's coming. You know how people are always saying that data is the new oil? Well, it is, because it's fueling the boom in AI that we're currently seeing. And like automobiles, AI will change the way we look at the world. Personal transportation change the way we look at physical distances. AI, on the other hand, will change our cognitive reach. And I used to look at AI as sort of like a steam engine for knowledge work. But I was wrong. If anything, the impact AI will have on our lives will be more akin to that of personal transportation. In both cases, individual humans like you and I will remain in the driver's seat. And the thing to keep in mind here is that ChatGPT and Perplexity and so on are just very first iterations of personal AI assistants, although you've probably only ever heard of ChatGPT. And like the early automobiles were not much better than their horses and carriage of the day, in the same way, the first personal AI systems are not that much better than our current way of working. You also have to keep in mind that horses in the early 20th century were a 1,000-year-old technology that had been refined by generations and generations of humans. Yet even those early automobiles could overtake a horse cart easily given the right conditions. But there is one key difference between the adoption of the automobile in the early 20th century and the adoption of AI in the 21st, and that is that a lot of the infrastructure needed to roll out AI is already there. We have high-speed internet multimedia devices with enough compute capabilities, as well as a lot of the technical know-how to roll out these systems. Compare this to the early automobile drivers of the 20th century, where the roads were often muddy, there were no gas or service stations anywhere to be found, so they often had to bring their own mechanics because in case something broke, that was the only way to get home. To be fair, the widespread adoption of AI is driving massive upgrades in our compute infrastructure. The data centers or AI factories of the 21st century. This is also what's been causing the incredible rise of the stock price of Nvidia, for example, with Microsoft alone pledging to invest 80 billion in data center upgrades in 2025. A lot of this will, of course, flow back to Nvidia. And that's not for nothing. Nvidia's relentless pursuit of computational efficiency and performance are driving down the cost of AI adoption in the same way that Henry Ford's innovation of the assembly line for mass-producing automobiles drove down the cost of personal transportation to a level that they became widely affordable. Automobiles changed where we live, how we work, what we eat, and in doing so, the core fabric of our societies. They drove the mass globalization that happened in the 20th century. AI will do the same by augmenting our cognitive capabilities, the cognitive reach of individual humans. So how can you benefit from these superpowers? Right now in 2025, we're seeing the rise of AI agents. Agents, according to their textbook definition, have two key capabilities. They are able to perceive their environment and take actions on said environment. The fact that they are defined by the environment in which they operate is also why everything can be an agent. So while an office assistant AI agent will have access to business apps like your calendar and your email and so on, to help it schedule meetings, send out reminders, and arrange events, a self-driving AI agent, on the other hand, will have access to your car's camera, sensor data, and a navigation system to help it steer right, steer left, accelerate, decelerate, brake, and so on. These two environments are very different, but both AI systems are agentic. They take actions in a set environment. There's a twist, though, that might be a little bit confusing, because while this definition applies to all AI agents, a lot of companies right now are building agentic AI systems. These agentic AI systems consist of multiple AI agents assembled together to work in a certain way. To go back to the example of the Office Assistant, while its developers might have made the user interface in such a way that you think you're interacting to a single agent, in reality, in the background, there will probably be different AI agents handling different tasks, like scheduling meetings or writing emails and so on. These systems are agentic because they consist of multiple agents working together to achieve set tasks in a constrained environment. And while a single AI agent often can't do much on its own, an agentic AI system can handle entire workflows on par with or even better than individual humans. Hence the rise of AI coworkers, which you'll see a lot of in 2025. Your AI sales assistant, AI HR officer, AI customer service rep, AI software engineer, your AI marketeer, and so on. And these agentic AI systems are often not only better than individual humans, they're also often magnitudes cheaper and more effective than entire teams of humans. And in relative terms, better for the environment, because we humans, after all, consume a lot of resources. So, how worried should you be? Well, the decision makers surveyed by the World Economic Forum expect that the share of human labor in the economy will drop from 46% to 33% in just 5 years. Now, while some of that work will be done by humans working with machines, by augmented humans, the vast majority of it, nearly 80%, will be taken over by machines. So, how should you prepare for the coming changes? First of all, I would recommend you start learning to work with AI tools immediately. After all, you want to be in the augmented part of the workforce, not in the automated part. And if you're even more keen, learn how to build AI agents yourself. There's a video linked here that shows you how to get started. Either way, the next 5 to 10 years are going to be wild. As mentioned, the World Economic Forum predicts that 92 million jobs will disappear due to advances in AI. But at the same time, they also predict that 170 million new jobs will be created. And these are not just office jobs that are being transformed due to developments in agentic AI. In fact, players like Nvidia, but also industrial powerhouses in the US and China, are going all in on something that they're calling physical AI. These developments will pan out over a little bit longer time horizon, so it's thinking 2026, 2027, but they're also already well underway. Let's look at a simple example. So, for example, the Tesla bot, which Tesla plans to retail at around $30,000, already costs less than the annual wage of the average factory worker in the United States. And any operational and maintenance costs will probably cost less than whatever employer contributions are to the pension funds and to the healthcare system. And these bots can operate 24/7 and have no sick days or paid leave. So economically, it will make a lot more sense to shift a lot of the manufacturing jobs from humans to robots. And the shift has already been well underway in China in the last decade. To see what this means in practice, for example, a wave of automation at Foxconn between 2012 and 2016 saw each of those robots replace up to 6 human workers, allowing Foxconn to lay off 400,000 workers in this wave of automation. This is not all bad, of course, because these jobs were repetitive, dangerous, and often physically harmful for the people working in them. And with an aging workforce, China had no alternative but to replace human factory workers with robots. This will help them keep their installed manufacturing base at the same level while needing much fewer humans. And China, where they've been trying to deal with this transition for a while now, their approach has been to manage this transition by moving the workforce into high-tech jobs. They're doing this by creating better STEM education, as well as promoting strategic sectors such as AI. Singapore is similarly mobilizing its workforce. It's not just China. But somehow the countries of the European Union, the US, and India are blind to all this. They're spending peanuts on the dollar to transform their workforce. What this means is that if you're living in one of those regions and you're not working for one of the few high-tech startups in those regions, you are responsible for your own strategic adaptation to the new economic realities of the 21st century. And one way to do this is to follow China's lead and transition to a high-tech career. There are plenty of areas of development where humanity hasn't reached any kind of ceiling just yet, from life sciences to nanotechnology and from quantum engineering to space tech. But I would be especially worried if you're doing any kind of administrative work, because administrative jobs and entry-level jobs are the most at risk due to advances in AI. And at the very least, I wouldn't rely on the government to help bail you out with universal basic income, because most of these governments are quickly running out of money. So what you could do to get started even today is to look at your day job and identify those highly repetitive tasks where you need minimal cognitive effort and try to automate a few of those. Either way, I hope that the message is clear. You need to start moving now because the future is catching up with you.